Hello. So, welcome everyone to our session that is organized by the University of Twente through the Energy Project. Today, we have the opportunity to listen and discuss the different ways to learn in energy access topic. In this panel, we want to bridge the initiatives of the Indonesian and Dutch stakeholders from the academia, NGO, and industry to share their first-hand experience with the partners and community, and of course, later on to create a forum to learn from each other. But first of all, let me introduce shortly about the Energy Project. This is a research project at the University of Twente in the energy access field. The project is funded by the Dutch Research Council, NWO, and RISTEC-DT, the Indonesian research institutions. We partner with ITB, Institute Technology of Bandung, with PT Land Industry. This is private companies where one of their business line is on solar technology, and with Klimop Energy. This is a Dutch technology startup who aspires to fight energy poverty. Energy Project have the goal, the big aspiration to improve the sustainability and scalability of energy access solutions. And we are focusing on technological innovations and collaborative creation with stakeholders. We will use case studies of photovoltaic microgrids in Indonesia, and we will apply the transdisciplinary approach in our research. So why is it important to consider applying transdisciplinary approach? Because in energy access, the topic is complex. We are talking about those systems that are located in remote places with limited infrastructures. And we are dealing with rural communities with limited capacity and economic resources. So we also learn from the experience that training for local operators and technicians can help extending the lifetime of the off-grid energy infrastructure. And to understand the different education levels of the locals is critical to ensure that the sustainability of the technology is guaranteed. So training should always adjust it to the local education level. And today we will have 4 speakers with us, 2 ladies, 2 gentlemen, 2 Indonesian and 2 Dutch, who will tell us stories about their works in various capacity development programs. Tom and Lindsay will have the perspective of the academics community and how their program would indirectly contribute to the capacity development goals, while Ines and Pramudia will bring a different angle of knowledge transfer through direct interaction with the beneficiaries of the decentralized energy resources. So I hope with the topic of collaborative human capacity development for decentralized renewable energy resources, we can hear more from our practitioners today. And I will go directly to our first panelist, who is Tom. Yeah, Tom from University of Twente. I will shortly introduce him to you all. So Tom obtained his master's degrees in electrical engineering in 2018 within the group of telecommunication engineering at the University of Twente. Since August 2018, he has been working as a PhD candidate at the Power Electronics and Electromagnetic Compatibility Group at the University of Twente, and he's working about his project is on the electromagnetic interference on static electricity meters. In this project, he works on improving the digital signal processing techniques used for multi-channel TD-EMI measurements. Additional to his research, Tom is also the coordinator for the Erasmus program within the group. So, Tom, the stage is yours.
Great. Thank you, Amalia, for this introduction. I will share my screen. Screen share. I hope it should be clear now. Yes? Can I start? If I hear nothing, I will just start. Yeah? Okay. Well, first of all, thank you all for joining this session. And I will try to connect the work we do with the knowledge exchange of Erasmus at the University of Twente together with ITB and try to connect it to the collaborative human capacity development. And then in this case, for the decentralized renewable energy resources. Like Amalia already introduced, my name is Tom Hartman. Currently, I'm a lecturer at the University of Twente. And like she said, I'm in charge of the Erasmus knowledge exchange from our group, the Power Electronics and EMC group. So when I saw this long title, I tried to connect it to this knowledge exchange with Erasmus. And when I look at collaborative human capacity development, I look at the dissemination of knowledge and how we can arrange this. And we can think of several different ways of doing this. One would be via conferences or either workshops and tutorials. We could do it via exchange of students, and we can do it via exchange of staff. And especially these last three and these last two, we realize this with Erasmus Plus funding, which we got accepted. So I will shortly show the results that we've achieved with these knowledge actions within Erasmus Plus. So in 2019, we wrote a proposal which got accepted, which gave us three different types of mobility. The first one was that we could arrange 2 Indonesian students to come to the University of Twente for half a year and do one big assignment. And I will talk more about that success later on. We also got 2 mobilities to go to Indonesia. So me and some colleagues went to Indonesia for a few days. We had a lovely, we joined a lovely energy workshop, and we actually met the people that we normally only communicate with via email or Teams or whatever. And lastly, we only had mobility for 1 staff exchange incoming, but because we could spend more money because we had more people willing to come to the Netherlands, we got even more funding at the last minute, and we had the opportunity to host 4 staff members from ITB who came to the Netherlands. And then we went by some companies, etc., and it was a huge success. Because the success of the first one, we wrote a new proposal this year. And since we spent even more money than we received last time, which is considered a success by Erasmus standards, we went for more this time. And so now for the coming 3 years, we can get 6 students for half a year to the Netherlands. We can get 4 staff members from Indonesia, and we can also go to Indonesia with 3 staff members. So this was great. So apart from our work with Indonesia, we also have a project from 2020 with Ukraine and a new one in 2022. We can host a lot of students exchange with this, which would be great, but due to the unfortunate war, due to the war in Ukraine at the moment, this is being limited a lot, and this shows that knowledge exchange can be limited a lot by outside forces that are completely out of our control. I was planning to just shortly jump into the how we write such a proposal, and we do that by following 3 main questions, which the first one is the quality of the project design and the cooperation arrangement. So these are the answers that we try to, these are the questions, sorry, that we try to answer in our proposal. We also have to show the relevance of our strategy that we're describing, and we have to discuss the impact and dissemination. So, and now I'd just like to jump into the first 2 questions separately. So how did we answer this? Well, we did it by talking about our experience that we already had with working with ITB. And we had that with, for example, many co-authored papers already. So we knew the people from ITB, but mostly via online collaboration. We also mentioned that we wanted to expand on this collaboration, and we mentioned the importance of funding in this case. And we also elaborately described the division of tasks, roles, and responsibilities. And you can see this, for example, how are students selected, how can they come to the Netherlands, or in this case, not even the other way around. So how can we arrange housing for them, etc., etc. Jumping into question 2, so the relevance of the strategy, we described 3 subsections, sub-questions again. So first, how is this project relevant to our strategy? Why do we want this mobility project with Indonesia, and in our case, ITB Bandung? And how does this connect to the international strategy of the University of Twente and of ITB? Well, first of all, mobility of students. So if I answer this first questions, we did it by looking at showing that mobility of students and staff has been an important part of our progress in achieving our goals in high-level education and research collaboration, as well as our goals for internationalization. Our objective out of this is a sustainable mobility between our 2 institutions to constantly extend our reach in research dissemination. Why did we do a mobility project with ITB? Well, we've been working together with Indonesian researchers to gain critical insights of the specific circumstances of Indonesia. And of course, also the other way around, where we have Indonesians who then later on can apply their knowledge and contribute to the development of their country again. One of the many goals for internationalization is that by 2024, 75% of our students at the University of Twente have international experience, and mobility realized via Erasmus Plus is thus fully in line with this UT policy. As a last slide, I jump into our success with the 2 students from Indonesia. From their work, they got 2 published articles, and we got even further research on these articles that got published. Apart from just the technical improvements that they did, they also improved their language a lot. If I compare the first conversation I had with them and the last one and see the improvement in their English, it was really good and really nice to see. And this language improvement did not only come from the technical work they did, but also from the cultural trips they took with colleagues of us, with other students. So they went throughout the Netherlands, but also throughout Europe. As a last statement, I'd like to end with the fact that funding of knowledge exchange opens a way for a broader impact, research-orientated, but also culturally. And we can arrange this via either internship and assignments for students, but also by facilitating knowledge exchange via, for example, workshops. Thank you for your time, and I'd like to hand it back over.
Thank you, Tom. Very nice to see like the backstage of how Erasmus Plus is working, and I think this program is very well known in Indonesia as well. And even our next speaker is one of the alumni of Erasmus, maybe not the exchange, but yeah, she was the recipient of Erasmus scholarship. So I think then, I like to inform to everyone, if anyone have a burning questions that you would like to ask to any of the panelists today, please leave your questions in the comments, or I think in the QA tab that is in your screen, and I will look at it, and then we will discuss it after everyone share their. So the next one, I would like to invite Ines Fitri from IBK. She will talk about the Energy Patriot program. This is a trainer program for undergraduates, so that they can teach the community to operate and manage PV microgrids. So Ines, are you ready? I will shortly introduce you before you start with your speech. So Ines Fitri completed her master's degree in environmental studies through Erasmus Mundus joint program in Denmark, Germany, and Spain in 2013. 2 years later, she joined the Energy Patriot program under the Indonesian Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources as field facilitator. She was assigned for 6 months in the bordering areas of West Kalimantan province and Malaysia to help the local community manage a solar microgrid. For the 5 years, she works at IBK Foundation, and she is currently pursuing her master's degree in public management at the KDI School of Public Policy and Management in South Korea. So, Ines, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Amalia, and hello, everyone. Uh, I hope my voice is can be heard clearly. I'm sorry, I'm having a flu now. Yeah, I'm gonna start my presentation about my experience as one of Patriot Energy in 2015. Um, Next, please. So yeah, this is the agenda of my presentation today. Next, please. Yeah, as we know, Indonesia is the biggest archipelagic country in the world with the very challenging geographical condition. Even the electrification ratio is already claimed 99.2% in 2021. Actually, there are still more than 5,000 villages with limited access to 24 hours electricity. They are still using oil lamp, solar lantern, or household diesel generators. Next, please. Which is why we need to have a program like Patriot Energy. It is a community empowerment program to facilitate the local people to build a system and organization to ensure the sustainability of the PV microgrid and emphasized on the social aspect. And even though currently Patriot Energy Program 2021 is currently ongoing, I'm gonna only touch upon the Patriot Energy Program that I was experienced in 2015. So there were 160 facilitators deployed for 6 to 12 months to rural and bordering areas in Indonesia in 18 provinces. Next, please. Yeah, so the training for the rural facilitators, we received 30 to 60 days intensive training about technical competence with the Ministry of Energy. And then regarding community-based development strategies, we have in-class session discussion with experts and practitioners. And we also undergo survival training and mindfulness training to build the perseverance and sincere mentality. Next, please. Regarding the deployment, what I did was I conducted formal and informal community meetings to build consensus in order to prevent social conflict. As in my case, I was assigned to village with social conflicts between groups that uh, they are pro and cons to the oil palm plantation company that do expansion to their customary forest. And I also did informal discussion with locals and in-class session with the students regarding the PV microgrid technology and utilization. And I also facilitate the meetings and forming organization to manage the PV microgrid and also to selecting personnel and building agreement on the electricity tariff. Next, please. So what is the most important concept as rural facilitator is the living concept to build the trust of community. So the community will sincerely or they will follow the direction of the facilitators. So what I did first, I came to the village is adapting to the community daily life, actively engaging in the community activities, gathering, and in this picture there's harvesting ritual, something like that. And then the objective is to observe and understand what happened in the community. If the community have problems, or maybe we can uh, identify potential resource to solve the problem in the community. Next, please. So regarding the PV microgrids at that time, there's only limited capacity, which is 300 watt hours per household per day. That is not enough to significantly improve the income generating productivities. Fortunately, there is building of a new road access to the village, as well as the distribution line of National Utility Company or PLN but then it leaves the PV microgrids unutilized. My point is there should be holistic and integrated approach to pursue the development process in the rural areas. Next, please. So to sum up, Patriot Energy Program focuses on the social aspect of renewable energy project as recognized by the scholars. We need to increase community sense of belonging, promote community participation, and also simplify the transfer knowledge to ensure the sustainability of PV microgrids. And recommendation for the similar projects, there should be timely social preparation, intensive or meticulous recruitment and training process, intense coordination along the program, and also strong and monitoring and evaluation system to obtain high quality result of the program. So finally, I would like to play the video of how the Patriot Energy is being trained and during the deployment. Yeah, so this is the training process. This is the Ministry of Energy in 2015. This is the survival training that we have done in the jungle. And this is the live-in situation in the remote villages. We stay with the local people, and this is the in-class discussion regarding the community-based strategies. And this is the overview of the rural areas in Indonesia, how difficult the access, how difficult to transport the logistic of solar panels, batteries to the rural areas. Even they need a buffalo to pull the cart with the solar PV batteries. And this is how we end up with. Then the community work together to build the solar PV. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you, Ines, for sharing with us your experience and how actually it went when you were assigned in the village in Kalimantan, right? So I think now, again, I would like to invite everyone who would like to ask questions to our panelists, and I will go through the questions later. But for now, we have the next panelist, which is Pramudia Arif Wijanarko. He's from Aqua Energy, a private solar company in Indonesia, and he will share his experience in the training and mentoring of microgrid local operators, which require different approaches to ensure the beneficiaries can be independent when facing problems. Hello Pramudia, how are you? Shortly about Pramudia, he is an awardee of the Indonesian Government Scholarship LPDP. He completed his master degree at TU Delft in the Netherlands within the Intelligent Electrical Power Grid Research Group. He worked on a project related to microgrid design for integration of wind power, microhydro, and energy storage for commercial and industrial areas, as well as control strategy, supply-demand scenario, and economic evaluation. He's currently working at Aqua Energy and is responsible to handle the preventive and corrective maintenance of the solar hybrid power plants. He's involved in a project to energize off-grid villages in Indonesia under the MCAI, the Millennium Challenge Account Project in Indonesia. So, Pramudia, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Amalia, for the short introduction, and hello, everyone. So today, I would like to tell some of our experience regarding operating a hybrid solar PV system in a remote area in Indonesia. The location is Kalimantan in Brawijaya. And for short introduction, my name is Pramudia Arvijanarko. People usually call me Pram, and I'm from Aku Energy Indonesia. So basically, for short introduction, Aquo is actually an independent power producer. So basically, we are an IPP, but fortunately, luckily, in 2018, we got a grant uh, from MCA Indonesia to construct a hybrid PV power plant in some remote areas in Indonesia. So please next. Okay, so basically, just for introduction for the project itself. So basically, as I said previously, the project is a grant from Millennium Challenge Account Indonesia. We got the grants in 2017. Actually, the process quite long from 2015, but there is a lot of criteria that should be met, and the project is located in 3 villages in East Kalimantan in Berau Regency, along Beliau, Merabu, and Teluk Sumbang. The hybrid solar PV plant is hybrided with the battery. The total installed capacity is 1.2 megawatt peak and 2 megawatt hours of battery. The total beneficiaries of the 3 villages is around 400 households and 41 public facilities, including the malls and some public facilities. The electricity distributed to the village using normal PLN meter as a default meter in Indonesia. So basically, why we chose this village is because this village are the PLN, the transmission operator Indonesia is not, they are not in the 5 years plan. So that's why we choose the village that less likely to be electrified in 5 or 10 years. And we use the national tariff, similar with national tariff, but around 1.1 cent, 0.1 US dollars. And each household will receive similarly around 900 volt ampere electricity capacity. And it also they can also increase the capacity if sometimes like they will have several electricity equipments. So sometimes they can increase their capacity. And for ONM, it is fully operated by the local train from the village and monitored by us, Aquo from Jakarta. Next slide, please. Yeah, it's basically the details of the project itself. As I said previously, it is 3 villages. The first one is a Long Blue village. Long Blue has 500 kilowatt peaks of the PV and the battery of 900 kilowatt hours. And the beneficiaries is 165 households with 11 public facilities. The second village is the Merabu. It has 300 kilowatt peaks of PV and 600 kilowatt hours of batteries. And the third one is Teluk Sumbang. The PV capacity is 400 kilowatt peaks and the battery capacity is 500 kilowatt hours. And the unique in Teluk Sumbang is we also have a micro hydro that also run for that has the capacity of 30 kilowatts that helps to provide the electricity, especially during the night. So that's why the battery, even though the PV capacity in Teluk Sumbang is larger than Merabu, let's say, but the battery capacity is much lower because the load is also provided by the micro hydro. We also have genset for each village around 66 kilovolt ampere, but this genset is only used as a backup, only for emergency backup. So and from basically for our designs, the system is running 24 hours fully on PV during the day and batteries during the night. So even though if there is the PV is only operate if there is a sun, right? So basically if there is cloudy days for 3 or 4 days, the genset may be operate, but for now the genset is maybe the total electricity provided by genset over the year is less than 5%. So it's basically just small portion. And for this to operate the power plants, we also have coordination with the local BUMDes, the village owned enterprise. Basically, we have share like 50% for the 50% for Aku and 51% for the BUMDes and 49% for Aku. But yeah, in actual, we didn't get the income, but the income is only fully for the power plant itself, for operations and everything. Next slide, please. So yeah, basically for what is the impact and benefit by having these power plants in the remote area in Indonesia? The first is have to boost the productive activity. So basically, most of the villagers in the village are Dayak people. Then they live by waving a rattan bag. So that's why previously they cannot waving during the night because previously they only have a small genset that can only operate for 2, 3, or 4 hours during the night, and right now they have 24 hours electricity, so they can waving the rattan bag during the night, and it will increase their productivity also. And also we have some of the we can also increase because one of the village, especially in Teluk Sumbang, it's near the sea, and they have a lot of fishermen, and the electricity is used by the villagers to store their fish, because yeah, even though the fish, they can use the fish, they don't have to fish every day to get their food, but sometimes they can store their fish on their storage. And the next one is for woodwork cutting. So as we know, Kalimantan has a huge forest, and most of their houses are built by wood. So that's why by doing the woodwork cutting will also increase the productivity to like especially during the day when the solar PV is high, when the electricity is sufficient, they can use this for the woodwork cutting. We also have to develop their ecotourism, especially in the 3 minutes. So basically, we also help the eco for the tourism, and also we also reduce the greenhouse gases emission, which is only like every in each village we reduce like 200 to 300 tons of CO2 every year. Next slide, please. So basically, before we left, before we leave, we start to operate the power plants. We did the training, we did the technical and also administration training during for the villagers, and all of them are involved during the development process. So they didn't only train when the power plant is finished, but also we start to train them before, even during the development process, even before the construction process. We also maintain the communication after the training. And yeah, before closing the presentation, can I show the video? I will show you the video about the project itself. Yeah, it is basically the location of the projects. It is in 3 villages have been selected in Lombeliu, Merabu, and Teluk Sumbang, in Kalimantan. Yeah, as said by the previous speaker, that this remote area and the access is quite hard.
Itu terbatas kita pakai mesin listrik pribadi, soalnya kita pikirkan minyaknya juga. Kalau kita kasih hidup dari jam 6 kadang sampai jam 10 kita kasih mati, nggak sempat kita tutup yang lain. Kita lihat kadang yang nggak punya genset, ya begitulah mereka gelap.
Oh, sorry if the voice is not clearly.
Itu diharap.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your time, and I will give back to Amalia.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you, Pramudia. I think it was really when I was watching in the video and then you stop it and then, oh no, it was just a trailer. So I think for everyone who is interested to see more of the video, you can later contact Pramudia maybe, and then you can, I think the video also available somewhere in the internet. Yeah, thank you, Pramudia, for sharing your experience with the 3 sites in Kalimantan province. And I think now we move to the last, but of course not least, panelist that we have today. We have Lindsay Schweder. She is from the Delft University of Technology, and she will talk about the multiplier effect of Train the Trainer program in horticulture application in Ghana. It might a little bit different from the previous 2 speakers, but this is very much relevant also to our discussion today because it has the similar setting in rural development and similar setting in capacity development. So I think we can learn a lot as well from Lindsay. So Lindsay, if you're ready, the stage is yours. I will shortly introduce you though. Lindsay is currently working for the Innovation and Impact Center at the Delft University of Technology and has more than 10 years of experience of writing, implementing projects in the field of education and innovation. She is currently the project manager of the EU-funded project Horticulture in Ghana for a Brighter Future, a project that focuses on introducing and integrating entrepreneurship education in Kumasi. By working closely with the Kwadaso Agricultural College and the private sector in Ghana, the project has managed to develop and integrate entrepreneurship modules that equip young graduates to successfully start their own business and field in horticulture. So, Lindsay, the stage is yours.
Yes. I can already see my slide. Yes. Thank you very much also for the introduction and for the opportunity to present some of the learnings also in this platform. Like you also said, it might be a little bit different from the previous speakers, since first of all, it's located in Ghana, not in Indonesia. And while energy is a small aspect of it, the focus is more on horticulture and entrepreneurship. But at least our main sort of objective was to go for a sustainable knowledge exchange and to build human capacity. I am half Indonesian. My father is from Indonesia, so at least I'm I'm happy also to be involved this week. So the project is called Horticulture in Ghana for a Brighter Future, and I think it's good to know that as TU Delft, also having the Delft Global Initiative, for us it is very important that when we decide to partner up with a country, that we do that for a very long time. So in Ghana, we already have a cooperation of more than 20 years with the universities, with the university in Kumasi. And because of that relationship and that network, we also expanded this to different projects. So this one is focused, as you can see on the picture, on the horticultural sector, which is from the TU Delft perspective, not our main field of expertise. But for that, we partnered up with Holland Green Tech, who have all good Ghanaian agronomists who are responsible for the knowledge on horticulture. And as TU Delft, we bring in our experience on how to build a good innovation ecosystem and how to introduce entrepreneurship. So if you look at the partners, you see that that is us teaming up with the college, Holland Green Tech bringing in inputs and really the horticulture expertise, our partner university, KNUST, and a lot of other private sector parties, so farmers that are around the college, but also other value chain actors. And our main goal was that we saw that at the agricultural college, students learn a lot, but they learn a lot in theory. And growing is something that you cannot do in a classroom. You have to go outside. So our main sort of goal was to introduce practical skills in the curriculum, as well as to show that farming is an actual business. So we also introduced some entrepreneurial teaching. But our main goal was not to change the curriculum. We wanted to keep it very, very practical. And I think that's also part of the success of the project, is that we really looked at what are the teachers teaching right now, and can we add a practical assignment to that to avoid all the bureaucracy that you get when you want to change a curriculum or introduce a new topic. And also because for us, it was very important that everything that we were introducing or bringing in also was very close to what the teachers were already doing. And that is also something that the teachers themselves really wanted to do or add to the course that they're already giving. And to ensure also that the impact doesn't stay at the college, for us, it was also very important to see if we can get a group of lead farmers. So these are farmers that are already doing quite well, to also work together with the college to also give young people the opportunity to go, for example, do an internship at these lead farmers, but at the same time also offer the lead farmers sort of the network of the college and the knowledge of the teaching staff, and also to ensure that the entire sort of horticulture sector around Kumasi gets a boost, because otherwise you are educating young people and they graduate, and then it's very difficult for them to find a job or to become active in the sector. So I think that what we try to do with all the network and the actors involved is to really find that mutual sort of learning demand or the need, and also to create benefits. So for the school, for the lead farmers, for the private sector parties, and for us as well, to see where is more or less the energy, what does everybody want to do, and really build from that. And what we did is that we immediately started to do something in the field. So we didn't spend too much time on writing reports and discussing. We immediately started to develop this demo plot at the college. So we did that together with the teachers, the Holland Green Tech staff, and the students, to really show that something is going on, and also to show that they will have to go into the field and get their hands dirty. And also develop these same demo plots at the lead farmers. And at these demo plots, our goal really was to also take these lead farmers to the next level by, for example, introducing also solar pumps, but also drip irrigation, better seeds, to also really, in one growing season, show that with new types of knowledge and new types of innovation, you can actually have a direct benefit. And here you see a picture of May where we had our graduation, and there we see we had more than 200 graduates from the college that all were able to work on their demo plots and grow a lot of vegetables, but at the same time also really have the skills and also the motivation to become active in that field and to become an entrepreneur. And since the project was taking place during the whole COVID time and still kept on going, I think some of the lessons was to keep it very, very local. So our Ghanaian partners were always in the lead. All the knowledge that we needed was at our partner university in Kumasi or at the Holland Green Tech agronomist team that were also in Kumasi. So that for us was very important, and of course we helped and we supported them online, but there was a very good team in place to ensure that everything could be going. Also a very important part is that, of course, during implementation also a lot of things changed. So for me, this was an EU funded project. It was also very important to be flexible. Things change. Things when you write a proposal seems to be very logical, and then you hear that something just doesn't work like that. So for me, it was also important that I had a good relationship also with the EU to explain to them, well, this is what we can achieve and this is what we cannot achieve. But I think the important one is be in it for the long run. So like I mentioned before, as TU Delft, we when we start a cooperation like that, or for example, when we say Ghana is a focus country, we will be there active for many, many years, which really helps to ensure that there's good energy in the team, there's trust, and then you can build on that and establish very good results. And I think if you do a project like that, similar to also what I've heard in other presentations, is make sure that you let people do what they really like to do. So with the teachers, we didn't ask them to change a lot. We still ask them to teach just a little bit more practical, which they also very much liked. And the same with all the other parties. So I think that if you sort of let people do what they enjoy most, you have a good working team and a very great project. And there are also some nice videos of a project, but I didn't have time to show them. But maybe later, if someone's interested, I can always share with them. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much, Lindsay. I like that you said that we should let people do what they want to do to make the project successful. I think that's a quite nice recipe. So I think I'm really grateful that we have these 4 people that have really hands-on experience in the field. If you could maybe show everyone on the screen, that would be great. I have received several questions, and I think now is the time. We have 20 minutes to talk about these questions, or maybe a little bit less. I will start first with the questions for Ines. So, Ines, what are the most interesting and perhaps surprising to you about the learnings from the Energy Patriots engagement with the communities?
Yes, thank you for the question. So I think there are lots of interesting things happen in the community empowerment program, but the most interesting thing is that the social aspect of electrification project in this case is not being emphasized by the government, and there is no conflict management strategies measure whatsoever, but actually the social conflict is the most thing that can ruin the electrification project. I think that's what should be we need to pay attention on the social aspect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I have a follow-up questions on that. When you mentioned the social conflict, what kind of social conflicts did you face? Maybe you can give us some examples.
Yeah, for example, if the first surveyors that come to the area and they did the survey and the survey is not accurate, and then there will be some of the beneficiaries and some of the community member that is not gonna receive the electricity. Someone become jealous and they will sabotage. Or for example, I work in the village that there's a group that pro and cons with the oil palm plantation company, and they think that this facilitator, me, is actually being in one only will give the electricity to one group, and the other group also think the same. So it might be there is a political interest there, but then what I did was I disseminate the sort of letter of consent. I said that so everybody that want to receive the electricity needs to sign this letter saying that they will comply to the agreement, to the consensus of the village. I'm not gonna be like being nice to just one group that were conflicting at that time. So yeah, that would be like one of example I experienced.
Okay. Well, yeah, that could be interesting for you when you are there and you have to face this and being the bridge between the community and the contractor and all this. Wow. Yeah, really appreciate your sharing with us, Ines. And I have now questions for Pramudia. The question is quite technical now. I will read it down. A match between mini grid capacity, design, and utilization, actual consumption, is often challenging in practice. Frequently, the mini grids turn out to be oversized and demand is lower than expected. What has been your experience with microgrids that you presented?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, actually, it's also we face the same problem actually, because basically based on our design and the actual consumption is only like 60% compared to our actual design. So basically, the load is much lower. So that's why we need to emphasize the villagers to do more productive activity. So I said previously, if previously they only do like for the fish storage or waving rotten bed, which is most likely the load is quite small. But if they can use for the woodwork cutting, and also let's say even some of the locations we have like the people in Kalimantan love to do how to say it, kind of party. I mean, like they love to work to come together in one place and some put some music and everything. So we also have to it also can be used to increase their load consumption also basically. But most of the time we need to emphasize the villagers to do it for more productive activity, even though it's only like household activity. I mean, like only for cookings or fish storage, or even, and some of them even have like the fridge, and some of the villagers they have like two fridge in house. And yeah, it's also we are facing the same problem, but basically we need to emphasize the villagers to keep doing more productive activity to increase their consumption.
So is this true then that you like you observe there is increase in their load after the installation of the mini grids?
Yes, basically it increased over the year, but maybe we made too optimistic scenario for the first year. So that's why we still need to emphasize the villagers to do more productive activity.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I have a second question to you, Pramudia. The questions now is on the other spectrum of the topic, which is about do you think there are any particular support in the form of public policy development by the central or local governments that is expected for the success of this program? If so, what are they?
Actually, if we are discussing about the policy, maybe actually there is currently we are as we know our power plant is kind of a source. I don't want to say social, but we do it for social purposes. I mean, like it is a good, it's a renewable energy, and we do it for the village that has no access to electricity. But currently, every power plant in Indonesia, they have some sort of policy that they have to make a report. They make to have like a plan for 10 years, the RUPTL for 10 years. We have to do the same thing. So basically, we have to follow the same policy for the big power plant, for the oil and gas power plant, and we have to do the same thing as they did. But the knowledge, especially for the villagers, is limited. So that's why from Aqua Indonesia we still fully support for these steps. But if we can have kind of spatial and not spatial, but a different policy from the big power plant, it will be good.
Okay. Oh, that's a big one, homework, but we can hope for that. Obviously, yeah, we cannot solve that problem very quickly. I would guess.
Sure.
But thank you for your response. I think I now want to move to Lindsay. Lindsay, you have two questions, but I will combine the questions into one. So, do you experience actual climate change in Ghana, and do you do something against it?
Yeah, that's a very good and relevant question. And also, I was in Ghana last week, and there all the farmers and the people at the college were discussing that it was raining, and that these rainy seasons they become so much, how do you say, less predictable than before. So especially farmers rely a lot on traditional methods to predict if it will rain or if it will be dry for a long period. For example, what types of insect they see or how the air feels, like these types of methods. And you see that these are becoming more and more unreliable because of rapidly changing patterns in the weather. So as TU Delft, we started an initiative already, I think, 10 years ago called TAMO, the Trans-African Hydrometeorological Observatory. So you understand why we have an abbreviation. And that focuses on weather stations, which are very low in maintenance and don't have any movable objects, to have a better ground network in especially African countries. Because we see that especially weather prediction, which with climate change are becoming more difficult, you need to have also good local data. And that whole network of ground monitoring stations in African countries wasn't there. So it was also difficult to collect data, but also difficult to do any predictions about what the weather will do, and especially for farming that is relevant. So these types of innovations, we try to we introduce them also in the curriculum, but we also link them to the farmers to see, okay, with use of these new types of technologies, can you adapt to these to climate change? So we are working on that, but it's a very pressing issue because it's going very fast.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, thank you for Lindsay for your comments on that. And I still have two more questions here from the audience. The questions are for Tom. There are two, but I think I can combine it into one question. Basically, is a question about what should a student do to be able to be the part of a student exchange program? And is there any program for a one semester exchange under this Erasmus Plus?
Yes, good question, an actual really practical question, which will result hopefully in actual exchange. It depends a bit on how, in our case, the nominator at ITP side distributes this knowledge. So sadly for our exchange with Indonesia, we cannot send students, how can I say this, to Indonesia. But otherwise, I would have put something on our website to such that students from our university know that they could travel to Indonesia. And it's a good point that I should check with, in this case, Denny Hamdani, our nominator from ITB side, how he distributes it towards his students and towards, well, the university in general. I do think he, for example, adds a certain slide in one of his lectures where he mentions this, but he's like the contact person at ITB side. But it's good that I can check with him how he distributes it and what his limits are regarding this distribution. I think that's the short answer.
And is this correct that the exchange that you are coordinating is limited for ITB students?
Yes, yes. In this case it is, but for a new proposal, it could be with more partners. But because of our contact that we already had with ITB in this case, we did it with ITB only. Regarding the semester exchange, we have exchange that counts for half a year, and one of the mandatory things is that the students should still receive the proper credit. So it should not delay your progress throughout your study. It should be like a sidetrack that you get the half year worth of credits at the University of Twente, and that you will also get them at ITB. So it's not a last year, but you just learn a lot of extra things, cultural things, language-wise. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Tom. I also have another last questions, I think, from the audience. It doesn't really mention to whom, but I think it can be relevant for Ines, Pramudia, and Lindsay. How to ensure the empowerment program goals would impact the targeted societies on the long term. So I think this is about the sustainability of the program that you are working on or have been working on. So who would like to start commenting on that? Lindsay, Ines, or Pramudia, probably. Do you have some response to that? Lindsay, please.
Yeah, I can start. Yeah, so what I also explained, like that the whole setup of the program was organized in and around Kumasi, so that will stay. So during the whole project period, not a single teacher from Delft visited the college to work with them. So it's not dependent in that case on us. So if you look at sustainability on the long term, Quadaso Agricultural College will continue to teach their new students these practical assignments. The Holland Green Tech team of Ghana is in Kumasi to support the college and to work with the lead farmers. We signed an MOU to ensure that the Holland Green Tech team in Kumasi will be at the college still there every Friday. And if you look at the way it's been picked up in Kumasi, like they now have 340 first year students because that is the maximum that they can really host at the college. But this year they had more than 2,000 students applying that want to learn these skills and to become active in this business. So that shows more or less also the effect and the impact and the fact that it's all in and around Kumasi ensures in a way that it's sustainable. At least this aspect. Now we do get a lot of requests from other agricultural colleges to share and to upskill. So that is something that we are looking for now. We can do that. But I think that in the small network that we created in Kumasi, this will go on.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like a successful project that you've done there, Lindsay.
Yeah, well, it's considered by many as such. So, and in a way,
That's great. Yeah, we can learn from that. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Ines, do you want to say something on that last questions that I just shared, or maybe Pramudia? Okay, Ines, are you? I think,
yes,
now you're unmuted yourself. Yeah.
To add what Lindsay said before, yeah, we need to focus on the finding local people who are highly motivated to continue the program, and then also showing the visible and tangible results and benefits, so they are also being motivated to continue the program. And I think also proper monitoring and evaluation system, because there are such a dynamics in the community. So if there is a problem in the future, we might have like who they should call if they need help in the field, something like that. I
Okay.
think that would be my
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks. And Pramudia, is there anything that you would like to add or not?
No, for me, yeah, I think
Okay.
basically similar.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, I just got a reminder from the host that we need to wrap up because the time is 2 minutes to the end of our session. Thank you very much for everyone. But as a closing remarks, I would like to ask just one little questions for everyone that just require such a short answers. What do you think are the 3 ingredients for an effective capacity development measures, considering all the differences in nature and condition of the beneficiaries? 3 ingredients, very short. We can start from Tom, maybe.
If I'm completely honest, I would say money, money, money. I think that's one of the main things that help in realizing this. But jokes aside, I think apart from that, and it couples to what Ines and Lindsay also really told us, it's people that are willing and enthusiastic and eager to learn something and see the benefit of what we're doing. Also with knowledge exchange, but of course also on the practical level that they mentioned. And for me personally, it was also the change of perspective that it realized, like seeing it from their side with different fundamentals, different cultural backgrounds, different living conditions, everything. I think those are for me the 3 main ingredients.
Okay. Yeah. And Pramudia, what do you think are the 3 ingredients?
3 main ingredient is, of course, the good communication between you and the beneficiaries, and then and then in the involvement, I mean, like we have to make the beneficiaries to be more involved with the project itself, and maybe the evaluations and also regeneration. It's for.
It's for. And Ines, do you want to have a short these ingredients for this?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna sum up what I have mentioned. I think live-in facilitators is a must to find out what actually happened in the grassroots level, and then recognition of the needs of social preparation, because this is not only a technical project. This really need to emphasize the social aspect. And the third one, it sum up into a flexible program design, because if the program is like for budget year, for example, it really difficult to adjust in the grassroots level. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thanks. And Lindsay, last, your
Yeah,
secret ingredients, secret ingredients of your successful project.
I think the first one would be humble. Never think that you know anything. Be honest. So have a good communication. And I think maybe even the most important one, have fun. Have fun with each other. Have fun with the project. Don't take yourself too serious. Make sure that everyone likes to work on the project. I think that is key.
Yeah, wonderful, really nice. I learned a lot. At least I hope the audience also have learned a lot, and I hope we also learned a lot from each other today. Once again, I would like to thank to all of you for your time this morning, and also to all the audience. Thank you also for listening our discussion and our talk. And yeah, success to all of you. And bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.